Who records the Zoom? Is that you, Buria?
Yeah.
Are we now live on YouTube as well? Or is that a recording?
Recording. Naufal, are you here?
Oh, we need the password of YouTube, I think.
Naufal, I asked you to be a co-host.
Yeah,
Naufal sedikit, right?
right. Cash will join the session in 2 minutes, so get ready. Naufal and friends.
Hello.
Hello, Cash.
Hi, can you hear me? Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me... Trying to make it so my headphones work.
Yeah, it's okay. Take your time. No rush.
Yeah.
I'm also still fixing some stuff. So, all
Okay.
well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go.
Does it work? Yeah.
Yes, it works.
Is that Finn? Is that your picture? It seems like you are freezing.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there we go. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay.
When you turn off the video, I see Finn's picture.
Yes, that is my nephew, Finn.
Okay.
All right. Whenever tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, like in a minute soon.
Okay.
How are you today, by the way?
I'm good. It's getting very cold here.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Today's good. Still around almost 9 o'clock a.m. Oh yeah, we have 1,000 participants, which is good.
How many?
100? I mean 100.
Wow.
Sorry. I mean 100, not 1,000. It's 100. We expect to have some more, I guess.
Perfect.
Okay, I think it's ready. So here we go.
All right. Assalamualaikum. Saya Cassandra Green. Saya dari Amerika. In California. So I am currently a master's student at the University of Colorado State in Fort Collins. So it's in the middle of the country. I'm currently going to school for environmental conservation, but I used to live and teach in Bogor, in MTS 3 Bogor for 2 years. So I am helping Aini out with this, and I will do my best on remembering my Indonesian.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right.
Yeah. So thank you so much today for your that you are available, Cass. And hello everyone. Good morning, and it's nice to see you. Thank you for your time to join. And this is us. And actually, I just want to tell a bit story that Cass and I first met in one of the American organization called Peace Corps, and she was one of the volunteers teaching in MTS 3, right? 3 or Bogor,
3.
yeah, somewhere. And then I was her community liaison, and yeah, that's why we met. So, Cass, where are you originally from? Have you mentioned already? California?
No, I am originally from California.
California.
Tapi sekarang tinggal di Colorado. So right now I live in Colorado.
Because you are studying in a Colorado State University, right?
Yes.
So before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to our manager of English department. Here is Ibu Dr. Ari Setia Budiningrum. And yeah, we hope you have such a short welcome.
Hello.
Bu Ari for Cassandra Green.
Well, thank you, Aini. Selamat pagi, Cassandra.
Selamat malam.
Oh, selamat malam. Okay.
Yeah, di sini
USA,
malam.
it is already night, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's guest lecture series 1. So this is the first from our series of guest lecture. It is held by English Education Department of IAIN KEDIRI. So on behalf of my institution, I would like to express our warm welcome and regards to our distinguished speaker, that is Ms. Cassandra Green from Colorado State University. And it is very nice to hear that you and Aini have a nice relationship. I heard that Aini was your CF when you do your PhD in KEDIRI. So,
yes.
Oh, well, yes. No, we extend our relationship to go in our institution, and I do hope that our relationship will be last forever. So, I am looking forward to having you again to be our guest lecturer, maybe for someday for our next event. Well,
I will try.
Yeah, okay. And I wish that your master's degree will be achieved as soon as possible, Cassandra Green. I heard that you have already underwent your master's degree, and have you already got it? Or...
No, I am still studying.
Okay.
One more year.
Good luck.
One more year.
One more year, okay.
Yeah.
I wish you luck for your master's degree, okay.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I'm sure that our lecture today will give you a fruitful benefit for your future. So stay tuned in our guest lecture series 1 and enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
you.
Aini.
Thank you. And also one more, it's a quick introduction. We also have the host as part of the English teacher today is Buria. Can you say hi to Cass? Probably.
Hi, good morning, good evening, Mrs. Green. Mrs. or Miss? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. So totally we have 158. And I expect to have some more. And Cass, let's start the session. So actually this event is coming from the idea that we are as non-native English speakers, we have been learning so hard about the grammar. It's kind of like on our mind. It's like for me, myself, I take more than 10 years to learn grammar. But then like since I was in a elementary school and up to now, it's not that easy. It's because I still got difficulty and it's so confusing that much. And then we're just wondering, not to mention or not to compare, but then we're just wondering, how do you guys, as native speakers, learn grammar? Or do you also get difficulty as the day or as the problem we do? Or is there any things that we don't know? Or how do you guys just get the grammar? It's because you are native and you speak English. Like after or since you were born, you speak English, right? And that's it. So yeah, it's time for you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So we also have been learning English grammar for 12, sometimes 13 years, and into university, we continue to learn English grammar. And I saw one of the questions asked, do English speakers also mess up grammar? And that is yes, there are many native English speakers that do not speak proper grammar in the United States, in Australia, in New Zealand. This is a very common thing. English grammar is not easy. And people go on to get PhDs in English, and it is not an easy thing. My biggest recommendation is to read as much as you can in English, and reading helps you see how it's written out. And if you read it out loud, you can start seeing it. And then as speak as much as possible, and you'll start to hear yourself like, oh, that doesn't sound right. Like for instance, if you are reading the cat are black, you would understand that no, there's only one cat, so it should be the cat is black. And I know the verb to be can be very difficult for Indonesian speakers, because that is not a word that is used in Indonesia. It is within the context of your sentences already. It's not needed. However, what I would like to say is throughout the world, majority of the people that speak English is not their first language. So you have all these different people coming together and learning English very different ways, and coming from different languages and bringing those languages in to speak English. And somehow people manage to communicate and understand. And so my biggest advice is, do not worry too much about grammar, especially when you are speaking. Because we, as native English speakers, and even people who learn English as a second language, will understand you if you use the wrong verb, or if you mix words and don't put it correctly. We will most likely understand you. And the best advice I can say is just to speak, however it comes out. And the more you speak, the better you will become at grammar, because you will start hearing yourself, and you'll also start hearing how others speak, and you can repeat what they say, and you can hear the difference of, oh, that's how Miss Cass said that. I didn't say it that way. And the more you speak, the more you will hear it. And so I think sometimes in Indonesia, people can
Can anyone mute the speaker, please?
So my best advice for you and everyone is to just practice speaking and not be afraid. No one's going to make fun of you for saying something incorrectly. If they don't understand, they will ask you to repeat it, and that is so they can understand you. It's not because they are thinking you are wrong. No, they want to communicate with you. And so if you say something they don't understand, they will say, repeat the question. And then they might ask a different question to make sure they understand what you're trying to say. And with time, you will learn how to communicate better and more directly to people. So it's just about not being afraid. I know when I lived in Indonesia, my Indonesian grammar was not very good at first, but people were really happy that I tried and they would help me. And I believe that is the same thing for English speakers helping non-native English speakers, is they will help you and they will not make fun of you because you're trying, and that's all we can ask. As far as like the structure of the sentence, it's fairly similar to Indonesian. And even if you put the words as if you were building an Indonesian sentence and made that an English sentence, most of the time we would understand. But I can't emphasize this enough, that the most important thing is to read in English and try to speak in English. And that is when you will start understanding and hearing where you are incorrect and where you can become better in grammar and learn more words. Aini had mentioned about academic English. Academic English isn't any different than regular English. Words to use. It doesn't necessarily have any difference in how the structure. It's not like Bahasa Jawa, where you have formal, very formal, not formal, and then the very bottom. In English, that does not exist. It's all about vocabulary. And the way you build your vocabulary is by reading. Like me, every day I learn a new word in English that I didn't know before, because I'm in a master's class and they use more complex and words I haven't been exposed to yet. So I am constantly learning new things and working on using a better vocabulary to make my voice sound more academic, if that makes sense. Let's see what other chats you have. How can you study to memorize English grammar? That is just repetition. When I learned Indonesian, I would practice with flashcards. So I'd write the Indonesian word on one side of the piece of paper, and on the other side, I would write the English word. And I would just practice. I'd do it both ways. I would say, bahasa, oh, language. And then I would practice language in Indonesian is bahasa. Okay. I in Indonesian, saya. Okay, next. And it's just repetition. When you don't use it very often, you will start to forget it. So you have to just keep practicing and practicing.
So Cass, I got what you meant. Like, so when you try to practice grammar, just speak first. Like, don't think that much about the grammar. It's by the time, right? And I think that's my biggest concern as the grammar teacher. So happens in my students that, oh, you need to learn grammar correctly and you need to be serious in grammar. So I need to like super tight on my students, like be a speaker with a good grammar, and then something like and that's the good idea is that when you say it in English, this is actually no term like academic English is super formal, and then we have this one just like in Indonesia, and then we learn the difference is probably because the culture is different. So I remember when I was in high school, the textbook teaches us on how to use grammar in semi-formal, informal, formal, super formal. So I think that the culture influences that much, and this is that's good to know that you guys, a native speaker, don't really use academic English for the super formal or something or kind of. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I would like to invite the students that you probably have a question, please. You can ask the question directly to Miss Kat. Yeah.
I want to ask a question, please.
Yeah, could you introduce yourself first?
Okay, thank you for the time, Ma'am IAIN. Hi everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Subaidillah, and today I would like to ask about grammar, specifically in writing. So yesterday, I was got a lot of grammatical mistakes in my essay writing class. So I wanna ask about suggestion how to make sure that our grammar in our writing is correct, because when I was writing it in the first place, I feel like I got all the grammar is correct, but when my friends corrected it, I realized that I made a lot of grammatical mistakes. So if you have any suggestion, please share to us. Thank you.
Yeah, so for me, when I write in any language, my first thing I do is I write down everything I want to say. So if I'm writing an essay, I just write it out. I don't worry about grammar. I don't worry about where the period is or anything. And then I give myself some time and I read it over, and then I start correcting my grammar. Because when you write, there is a way to write that's better for so what I suggest is first write down all the information that you want in your essay, and then you go back and you correct the grammar, and you can change words that may sound better, that make it more interesting. You may add stuff, but you have the content that you're trying to sell, you have the basic, and then you go correct it. So when we write essays in English for any class, we call them peer-reviewed. So we will write the paper, and then we have someone go over and edit it for us, a friend, a family member, whoever can do that for us. And then we go and we correct those mistakes. And then we do the same thing for our own paper and correct it again. And then we turn it in. So there's often when we write an essay, we have someone or we ourselves will go through and correct it 3, maybe 5 times before we actually turn the paper in to the professor. So that's my biggest advice for writing is edit, edit, edit before you turn it in.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you, Baidillah, for your question. I would like to also invite some others. Are there the students from IC class, please? Are you there? Or yeah, anyone can ask the question. Come on.
Hello, Miss Cass. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, could you please introduce yourself first?
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Asmi Puspadewanti. You can call me Asmi. So, Miss Cass, I would like to ask about how to prevent or decrease the gap or the moment or the blank moment when we try to speak English while our brain is processing to speak Bahasa. There is, I don't know how to prevent that. Thank you.
So when I was in Indonesia, I had that same thing when I tried to speak Bahasa Indonesia, and you're like, think. But the more I spoke, because I had to, because I lived there and I couldn't speak English, it became easier because my brain practiced instantly, nama siapa? Oh, nama Cass. Yeah, you know, and it was quick because I knew, okay, my brain learned what those words meant in Indonesian, and I had used them so many times that it became faster. And the only way to not have that gap is to practice and speak and speak and speak as much as you can. That's the only way.
Okay, Miss Cass, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It seems like everyone has a different challenge, yeah, in learning grammar especially. But then, Cass, this is a big question. Do you guys learn English? I mean, the subject of English, even until university? Like we have, even if we are in the university, we still have Bahasa Indonesia class. What about there?
Yes. So in university, I had to take two more years Bahasa Inggris in university, but now in my master's, I don't have to. Now it's only environmental conservation class, but yes, we have to.
Yeah. Okay. So is there any other participants who would like to ask questions, please?
Yep. Yeah. Hi, Cass. So you mentioned that you are right there. The native speakers also study about the English subject. So my question is that how does the teacher teach right there? Because we see that if here in Indonesia, grammar class is such a really boring class. So I would like to know how about the practice of the teaching.
So grammar is part of English. It wasn't just a grammar class. We had, for instance, like reading comprehension. And so we'd read a book and then we'd have to write a paper on it. And by practicing writing, they would correct us on our grammar in that writing. And therefore, we would learn grammar through our writing. It wasn't just specifically, oh, we're learning grammar in this way. It was all of English. So it was learning how to read, learning different parts of a sentence, such as the subject, the verb, the adjective, the adverb, the prepositions and how they are used. So every class, and as you progressed, you got more advanced. So it was everything. It wasn't just English grammar. You also learned how to write, you learned how to speak, you were learning how to read, you were learning new vocabulary. And with all of that combined, we'd also learn grammar through learning those new words. I'm sure similar to how you learned Indonesian grammar, yeah? You know, so very similar.
Do you also study the English grammar, like, you know, the pattern? If we are using the present, we use the verb one and blah, 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 something like that? The pattern one?
So not like specifically. It's if I wrote a sentence, so let's say they wanted us to write a paragraph in the past, so that like verb 2. We would write it out, and and we're also using adjectives. We're learning new adjectives, so they would have combined. So I'd say, yesterday I saw a red dog. 2 weeks ago, a black cat. And if I said the black cat run across the street, they would correct it and say, no, 2 weeks ago, it ran across the street. And so we learned grammar while the same way we learned to write. So it was all part of it. We didn't know how to write. We were learning to write very basic words, and we learned grammar with those basic words. We didn't learn like verb 1 or verb 2, verb 3. We did learn like past tense and future tense, but it was through learning how to write sentences and learning how to spell and new vocabulary.
So is that okay to add my question, ma'am?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So my curious is coming to, how do you know about the past tense, the past verb, and then the present verb and future verb when you were growing, yeah, right there? I mean, yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how, I don't remember how I learned it, but watching, I have two very young nephews, and watching them learn how to speak, they often mistake words. They will say things like, yesterday I go to the store. And, you know, depending on the parent, but my brother, he will correct them and be like, yesterday I went to the store. And so over time, just like kids learn anything, they do it over and over and over. And then they hear it, and eventually they get to, you know, a native speaker, you can say, oh, that doesn't sound right. And then eventually, as you learn in class, you'll be like, oh, that doesn't sound right because it's supposed to be verb 1, not verb 2. Or it's supposed to be verb 3, not verb 1, you know? So
Yeah.
it's just with time and repetition. Yeah.
But then, even a native speaker, do they also have a time like, you know, they don't even get the words of the English? We see that between the spoken and also the written words, we see that lots of, like, you know, we have to add more and more vocabulary right here. Yeah. Do the native speakers also get difficulty on it? I mean, finding a new word that they don't know yet?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Often. So on my computer, when I am reading a article, I am all the time looking up the definition of a word. What does this mean? And that's how we learn. Yeah. And when I write, I was telling him how to write essays, I often will write in really bad English first, very bad. But I just need to get my thoughts down, and then I can go, okay, now I need to make this sound correct. Yeah. And then I fix, it's like, sometimes I wrote go and I meant went, you know, I went to the store. I didn't go to the store. I'm talking about yesterday. But for me, I have difficulty, and the way I write is much different than the way I speak.
Yeah.
So I speak more casual, but when I write
formally.
More formally. I use bigger words. Yeah. And,
okay,
and
well,
oftentimes, yeah, we mess up too. And that's why I say, just speak. And if you mess up the grammar, that's okay. We will understand, because we often mess up the grammar.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I just want to confirm, Buria, are we now live on YouTube? Buria, are we now live on YouTube? Because I've got some participants who cannot join the session. It's because we have maximum like 300.
I think we got a problem with the
oh yeah,
account.
okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm
No
sorry. We couldn't,
yeah, thank you.
Link to the YouTube channel.
Okay, we have another student who raised the hand. I forget the name. Who is that student? Who raised the hand? Yeah, you can ask the question. Tadi ada yang angkat tangan kayaknya ya. Or anyone, any students from grammar class or IC class or speaking class or whoever, the participants can be free to ask questions. You have the time.
I would like to ask, Miss.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself first?
All right. Hello, Miss Cass. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Naufa Siddiqui Nasrullah, and my family and my friends usually call me Naufa. It is such an honor to be here. Yeah. To be here and join your lecture in this morning. Okay. So as non-native speakers of English studying at State Islamic Institute of KEDIRI, we may have already dedicated a lot of time and energy to mastering English grammar. And our ultimate goal might be to try and achieve fluent written English and also spoken English that contains no grammatical errors. And yeah, my question is, actually, I've already read the website from the University of Newcastle, said that unlike in an English language classroom at university, the most important thing isn't the accuracy of your English, but the quality of your thinking in the short term. Then it's important to prioritize those issues that are going to have the biggest impact on your ability to communicate your thoughts effectively to the reader and to the listener. And my question is it fine we are, as English education students, prioritize the quality of our thinking instead of the grammar itself? That's my question.
I would agree with that statement. Aside from your teacher, Aini, who will correct your grammar.
Yes.
However, I will say, even with wrong grammar, if you can clearly communicate what your thoughts are, even if you have wrong grammar, we will still understand, and that will make a stronger argument or a stronger point than you having the perfect grammar but not having a good thought behind it. Does that make sense? If you don't have good ideas, it doesn't matter how well you can say that in English because it's not a good idea. But if you have a great idea, but you use the wrong grammar, but we understand you, you can influence more people with your English that way. So I would agree with, was it Oxford or Cambridge?
Newcastle.
Newcastle, sorry.
Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere in the UK, but Newcastle, I would agree. So aside from your class on grammar, I would not focus on grammar. When you are speaking to anyone outside of class, just practice speaking, however that comes out, even if it is wrong. It is okay. We will understand.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Miss.
So I agree that like in Indonesia, even we have grammar class, we have speaking class, we have writing class, and when it comes to TOEFL, for example, the grammar can be so much strict. It's because of and written expression. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Is there any
Thank
more
you, Miss.
students who are willing to ask? Maybe you are curious on how to deal with grammar. Yeah, you have time.
It's me, Miss. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, I'm Firnas, and it's nice to meet you, Miss Cass. And I have a question. Actually, as you said that in United States, you learn grammar by not practically use the pattern or learn the pattern, but just by write it or make a sentence. But in Indonesia, mostly in say junior high school until high school, we learn grammar by memorizing the pattern and then drilling. It's like maybe, and it's like grammar translation method, right? Yeah, and I think it's actually have the impact on why we cannot use grammar practically. And actually, what can you suggest about this? I think the best method that we can use in teaching grammar, because you know we are English education department, then we are expected to be a teacher in someday in the future, maybe. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I just want to point out that everyone who's asked a question, your grammar is great. You are making very clear questions. I understand you very clearly. So your English for me is great. But as far as learning grammar, it's about speaking. And before I left to go to Indonesia, I tried to teach myself Indonesian. And memorizing helps, but honestly, the only thing that got me to understand English or Indonesian was to use it every single day. And I was forced, right? And then I could hear myself. I'm like, I asked them the same question they asked me, but they answered it different. What was different? And then I started noticing, oh, they said that different. Okay, they added the mu. I was like, oh, I'm forgetting mu. You know, so the more you speak it, the more you and hear it. So having people speak English back at you, the more you will start to understand grammar, and you'll start to hear your own mistakes, and you can correct those. But again, you can memorize, and I think that can help you with your writing. And I think that can help you to first start having confidence in speaking, but eventually you have to get comfortable of just knowing that you will mess up. I had to give a speech the other day in English, and I speak English and I messed up. It happens. And you just go, oops, I meant this. And you continue. We all mess up, and you just have to move past that, and you will start to learn when you mess up, and then you don't make the mistakes again.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Firnas, for your question and Cass.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I also teach Firnas in speaking class, both in grammar class at the same time. So yeah, we are learning together on how apply grammar in speaking. But then yeah, sometimes I need to make a difference between, oh, this is speaking class, you can be more relaxed in applying grammar, but then in grammar class you can be like more strict to learn grammar and such. So, and that's how we as non-native English speakers learn English all the time in our life. Yeah. Thank you. Are there any more questions from students? You can raise your hand or can ask the questions directly. You have the time for sure.
Aini, I have a question for you, Aini.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay, so when you were around all the American volunteers, did you feel you had to speak English with us? Did you start noticing when you would make a grammar mistake and correct it?
Yeah. So actually, when I talk to you guys in American, I've got so much different situations, because I found that your English every day when you talk to me is so much different from English I've learned at school. Yeah. And then I try to learn the new thing from the very beginning. Like, oh, it's not like the thing I learned. It's not like from the books I learned. And then the difference is not just a bit, it's just so much different in terms of using the vocabulary, and then at least the diction or vocabulary choice. And the biggest difference is that you speak so fast. And I found that some of you have like grammatical error, but then it's a bit, because probably some of you also use slang in a daily one. Yeah? And then when you went into the classroom for the school practicum, and then you speak so, not too fast. You speak so slow. So it's coming from different perception and different strategy to understand. But then out of the box, when we are outside, yeah, sometimes around 2:00 p.m., I was like, oh my gosh, I lost my focus. That's why in the morning, like in the beginning, when the 7, 8, 9, 10, I was so energetic to talk. It's because of like, I am there and I got the point of your speaking, but then around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., my brain is getting slow. And then, yeah, it's because of probably the capacity also. But then by the time from learning or talking English to you guys, I learned a lot, that I can feel myself that my English improves that much in terms of especially the fluency and then the vocabulary. And I also learn slang a lot from you guys. But then I will not teach slang to my students. So I just use slang at myself. Thank you for asking, Cass.
Yeah, no, I just wanted your students to see that when you practiced more, you were able to see, oh, I made a mistake, or they made a mistake. And you didn't have the gap that the student before was talking about. You were able to respond quickly because you practice. You had to speak every day.
And then
that's
also,
what made you better?
Yeah, I think also even if when I got a grammatical error, you guys, a native speaker, still can understand me speaking. I mean, you can catch the meaning or the idea. So I think no worries. Even if they don't understand, they will ask like, what do you mean? Like, do you mean this? Do you mean that? Or something like. But I have one volunteer who is strict in grammar. So whenever I speak a grammatical error, he told me like, Aini, you should say this. Oh, okay, thank you. I will learn a lot. That's it. So are there any more students who would like to ask a question, please? Or actually, we have a lot of questions here from the chat box. And they are coming from my grammar student. Oh, Rika, raise your hand. Okay, you have time, Rika.
All right. Hello, Ms. Cass. I would like to ask you about the teaching method that will be applied to the children as elementary students. So could I conclude that when we are as the teacher of the elementary students to teach the grammar, especially English in the grammar. So could I conclude that the more correct the teacher's grammar and speaking, so the more students are able to learn grammar, because the students' characteristic and elementary students, I think they are not interested in memorizing pattern or memorizing thing that's bored, as a boring. So could I conclude that the teacher must be correct in grammar in speaking, so the students are able to learn grammar. So it's called practically teaching or practically learning.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yes, so if the students are taught from a young age proper grammar, that's what they know, right? So if you are taught incorrect grammar from the beginning and then later taught a different way, you have to relearn and like forget what you've already known because that is wrong, and relearning, and that's more difficult. So memorizing is very difficult as a child, so you have to make it fun. Play games, play songs with proper grammar, and the more they hear the proper grammar, that will start sounding more correct to the students. So if they get a teacher that is not good at English, not good grammar, they'll be like, no, it's this. My teacher, sorry, I forgot your name. Nama siapa?
Rika.
Rika. Okay. Yeah, Bu Rika. Bu Rika taught me grammar is this way. That's how she always said it. And if they learn correctly from the beginning, it makes it easier when they are older.
Oh, I see. Okay. So even if for Americans, yeah, you guys ask teachers to like, Miss, is my grammar proper, or how to say this in a good grammar? So yeah.
So if I was always taught that the sky is green, but then when I'm in university, they're like, no, the sky is blue. I'm going to be like, no, the sky is green. Burika told me the sky is green, and I have to forget the sky is green and relearn the correct way, which the sky is blue. But for so long, I was told the sky is green. And so with grammar, if I am taught the wrong grammar and I use verb 1 when I should be using verb 2, I will always think, no, this is verb 2. And when I get to university and Bu Aini is my teacher, she's going to be like, no, it's verb 1. And I'll be like, no, Bu Rika told me verb 2. And then I have to relearn, right? So it makes it harder in the future. So the better English you speak to your students when they're young, the more easy it will be in the future for them.
Yeah. It's so interesting point that actually, when a young learner tend to follow all the teachers said, it must be easier. Yes. I'm wondering, do you guys, are you guys popular with the term verb satu, verb dua? Do you
Very
guys exist
popular.
in America? Because I don't think so. Like you guys don't know what is verb satu, verb dua ya. See, my student di Amerika or non-native tidak ada verb satu, verb dua. And what do you guys use? Present verb, past verb, right?
Yeah, we use future tense, present tense, and past tense.
Okay. Even if you teach here in Indonesia, you find that term, yeah? Verb satu, verb dua.
Yeah, when I taught in Indonesia, I use verb satu, verb dua, because the students had been taught that way for so long that was easier for them to learn in that way. If I changed it all of a sudden and taught them a new way, it would be more difficult. So because like everywhere teach it in Indonesia uses verb one, verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga, that's fine, that works. That's just not how we do it. But to make it consistent everywhere and every grade level, every class, it makes it easier for the students, because class tiga, maybe it's different than class tujuh. They're like, oh, now we use past tense, and they're like, past tense, verb tiga, no, verb satu, no, I don't know. So you just have to make it easy for the students and make it consistent every class.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's not wrong to teach that way.
Yeah, this is how we Indonesian people classify or categorize kinds of different of verbs, so that it can be easier for us to remember and classify which belongs to present verb, which belongs to past verb, and so on. Thank you. I think Anis Fauzia raised the hand. You have the time to ask a question.
Okay, thank you, Miss Aini. I'm sorry, last time I didn't mean to unmute my microphone because I give motivation to my students and I show this event to them, how Miss Cassandra talk and how Miss Cassandra explain about English, and they feel interested. And I said to them, you should learn English. So if you are invited to America or somewhere outside that, and you can spread many things about your knowledge there, that you will be ready. And then my question I have written on the chat, but I want to say here too about I get difficulty to teach my students about English because in my school they have to learn two foreign languages, Arabic and English. So I guess they feel confused, yeah, because they should learn two patterns. And when actually me myself, I don't want to use verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga, because when they use dictionary, they get difficulty too. Karena in dictionary, there sometimes that they cannot find verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga, like that. So, actually, what is the best way, Miss Cassandra, to teach them English about grammar, and they have to learn another foreign language? Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, before I'm wondering, are you a teacher for young learner?
For junior high school.
Oh, junior high school. So are you in the classroom right now?
Yeah. No, I have been in my office, and after this I will teach again.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the teacher for junior high school. Okay, Cass, you have to start.
So as far as grammar and sentence structure, Bahasa Arabic and Bahasa Inggris are very similar and almost the same, unless they're learning Bahasa Arabic. from the Quran, then it's like old Arabic. It's not like the Arabic they speak in Saudi Arabia. So you can use Bahasa Arabic and Bahasa Inggris like together because the grammar is very similar, and the structure of a sentence is very similar. They have verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga in Bahasa Arabic. They have past tense, they have future tense. It's not just like sudah atau belum. Ya, di Bahasa Indonesia, you know, itu sudah, belum, yeah. There is future and there is past tense. I agree with you. I don't like verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga, because in the dictionary, it doesn't, not all words have those verb tenses. However, my only thing is that in Indonesia, that is how everybody teaches it, and it can be difficult for the students to learn multiple different ways rather than consistency. But I mean, even I mess up on verb satu, verb dua, verb tiga, like when I speak, and the way I understand that I messed up is when I hear somebody else say it correctly. And then I go, oh, I used the wrong verb. And that's how I learn. And at first you have to get that base of just learning that those are what those words mean. You know, when you see send, you know that's present. If you see sent, you know that's verb dua, you know, it's past. And then if I see will send, that, you know, that's verb in the future. So you have to understand the definition and what those words mean before you can understand if they're correct. Does that make sense? Do you understand? To understand the definition of the word before you can understand if it's correct for your students? No?
Yeah.
Aini? Did that make sense, Aini?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining that well.
For the students who learn more than one language, even if for us, we learn, like I have a local language, Japanese. Yeah. And my first language was Japanese actually. And Bahasa Indonesia is the second language. And I also have Arabic language. And also we have English. So we have multiple languages actually. And that means that people have different strategy and also different ways to learn as well. So that's why sometimes it's kind of confusing or even harder for those who have multiple languages. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you, Mbak Anis, for your question.
Yeah, it's just forcing yourself and your students to speak as much as possible.
Yeah.
Speak and read. However you can get them to do that. And then they'll start learning how they learn.
And I think the only way is just read and write. Well, speaking is quite different or challenges because unless we have English community, but then sometimes we also talk Bahasa Indonesia among us and we don't really speak English. Like my neighbors cannot speak English. And then I only speak English via chats with you guys, also with my students, but then not overall, like not every day. So it's been hard. But then
for yourself, if you want to practice, I would recommend every day find something to read in English, like online, like news or a story, and write like 10 sentences about it in English every day, you know, or even 5 sentences, but just so you can practice reading in English and then writing in English.
Yeah.
If you're not going to speak it, that's something that's for you personally. You can have your students do that as homework or in class. Have them read a short story, you know, and then have them write what it is about and what they think about it in English.
Yeah,
you know, just
like I also read some journal article for sure.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just miss talking to everyone using English or something like that. Yeah, thank you. Aldi, do you raise your hand? Because I'll see.
I think this will be my last question, and then I have to go.
We are also running out of time. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be your last. Yeah, come on.
You're fine. You're good. It is your room.
So I want to ask this question.
Oh no, I mean, Cass, do you think?
Yes.
Do you think you still have time?
I have one more question.
Oh yeah, this is the last question. Yeah. Okay, Aldi, you have the time.
So some of my friends usually ask me like, I want to learn English, but I don't know what to learn first. And I also find myself difficult to answer it because I don't know how to answer it. Maybe I can suggest to him to learn speaking or grammar first, but I think it will be really difficult for them to learn grammar first, but also they will not be able to learn speaking properly without grammar. So which one you recommend to learn English or grammar or speaking first?
I would learn speaking first. Speaking is the hardest of all four ways you learn a language of writing, reading, speaking, and listening. Listening and speaking are the two most difficult. And if you can learn to speak first, your reading and writing will come much easier later. So practicing speaking. There's a really good app that I will tell INGGRIS that you guys can use, and it's called Tandem, where you can start chatting with a native speaker of almost any language, and possibly someone who wants to also learn Indonesian, and you can chat WA with them and back and forth, and that is a good way to practice speaking every day. At least writing, you can do voice messages too if you want to practice speaking, but that's a good way to start beginning to learn to speak. But I would always recommend trying to speak first before reading or writing.
Yeah, I'm also in your team. I learned speaking first, then grammar, because we are afraid that if we learn grammar that much, it will be hard for us to speak. We are afraid of grammar. Yeah, so I think the end of the session. Thank you, Aldi, and thank you for all the participants.
Yeah, thank you for the answer.
But then don't leave the Zoom. After this, we will share the link of the certificate. And then on behalf of IAIN KEDIRI, Cassandra, thank you so much. That means a lot for us, and especially for
no problem.
You know,
and we'll do it again later, another time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we will do it again later. I believe that the students are still excited. Before we end the session, can we have a photo sessions together? Just Indonesian culture that much.
Yes.
Okay, could you guys please turn on your camera? Let's have the photo session.
Thank you, Miss.
Ready? Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, hang on. I know that because you have the Indonesian pose. Is that right? Or is that an American pose?
No, this is everywhere, but this Indonesia.
Yeah, okay, we do it again.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, cheers. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cass. I hope you have a good night and good time. I hope to see you again someday later in the future. Or yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Until
bye,
next
Annie.
time. Bye-bye.
And nice meeting everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you so much untuk mahasiswa. Sekarang sertifikatnya bisa diunduh di sini. Adalah linknya mana? Sebentar ya. sabar.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Oke, ini aku kopikan ya. Terima kasih ya, hari ini sudah bergabung. Kalian antusias, apalagi dosennya ya, paling heboh. Tak IAIN Kediri. Sebentar, aku...
Yang nggak menyalakan kamera tidak kena foto ya tadi ya, maaf ya. Jadi yang menyalakan kamera saja.